for joining the Financial Brokerage webinar today on prescriptions for faster underwriting with Brian Leising, Andrea Rasser, and Mike Nielsen, all of Financial Brokerage. The session is about to begin. We will begin in 1 minute. Thank you for joining the Financial Brokerage webinar today on prescriptions for faster underwriting with Brian Leising, Andrea Rasser, and Mike Nielsen, all of Financial Brokerage. There will be a question and answer period at the end of the webinar. All questions must be typed. This can be done at the bottom of the control panel on your screen. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Brian Leising.
All right, thank you, Justin, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us for the webinar, Prescriptions for Faster Underwriting. We're going to go through about 6 steps you can take to learn how to make the underwriting process for life insurance a little less painful, generate more paid business with less effort on your part. Everybody would like to work less and get paid more, so we'll show you how you can do that. We'll show you how you can speed up the process from application all the way to getting your commissions paid. And I've identified 6 steps we can go through for this, different resources we have available here at Financial Brokerage. You will also hear from a couple of my partners here at Financial Brokerage. Mike Nielsen, he is our in-house underwriter, and Andrea Rasser, she is our operations manager, and she handles a lot of the underwriting pre-screenings that we do here. So what exactly are the 6 prescriptions for faster underwriting? Well, we're going to be speaking about the NAILBA underwriting guide. This is an acronym, but they've put together a 122-page guide to help guide you through what questions to ask your clients that have some health problems. We'll also be discussing the Xray software, which allows you to get quotes in an instant. We'll hear from Mike Nielsen. He's our in-house underwriter for when a computer can't always do the job all of the time. You need to speak to a live human being. Well, we have a few of those here. We'll also speak about using simplified issue life insurance and how that can help you with the underwriting process. Certainly speeds it up. Online applications, we've had a live experience with those here, and we'll explain how those speed up the process. And then also using accidental death policies. That's something a lot of people overlook, I think. Now, to start out with the NAILBA, remembering back to when I was in the field, and how many times have you encountered a client with a major medical condition, and you had to make multiple phone calls to work through underwriting pre-screening? Maybe you're calling 2 or 3 different carriers and a couple different brokerage agencies, and it becomes time-consuming. And maybe the case never places. Maybe you can't even insure the person, and you've spent all this time. Or worse yet, maybe you actually go to the effort of completing multiple applications. You apply with one company, you get rejected or severely table rated. Then you go to company B, then company C. This takes a year, and you're just not making enough for your effort there. Wouldn't it be nice to know beforehand, before you meet with the client, which company is the best one to go with and what kind of rate class can you expect? So the NAILBA guide can really help you with this. I had mentioned earlier it's about 122 pages, and you can find it on our website, but it includes over 100 different questionnaires, and these cover the most common diseases and disorders that are out there. It really increases the accuracy of the pre-screening. Now you know exactly what questions the underwriters want answers to. You can find it on our website at fb-inc.com, and just look for the underwriting tab at the top. A little bit more about this. Includes all these questionnaires, but the first part of the guide, I think a lot of people overlook this, includes some general underwriting criteria such as height and weight and blood pressure and cholesterol, family history. These are not specific to any one carrier that we work with, but sort of represent an average among all of them. So if there are some very easy issues, some common things that maybe aren't that big of a deal, you can look it up pretty quickly and have an idea, is this person preferred? Is this person standard? Maybe they're preferred plus. Let's see what kind of ballpark we're looking at. Now, the way we handle this here, really Andrea Rasser, she sees the results of all of these questionnaires that folks complete, and she works directly with the carriers to get our answers. And Andrea, I guess I'd turn over to you right now and see if you can offer us some additional insight on the NAILBA guide.
Thank you, Brian. Well, as Brian indicated, the NAILBA guide can be found on our website within the Underwriting tab. However, if you're ever unable to access this online for any reason, you can also call myself or your life marketer for the specific questionnaire that you're in need of. One thing to keep in mind when completing these forms is that because they are condition specific, they do not ask for the date of birth, the height and the weight, or the client's tobacco use history. Therefore, please make certain when you complete these that you include that information in your request. That's the best way to ensure you get the most accurate quote possible. So once the questionnaire is fully completed, it can be submitted to your life marketer or directly to me via email or fax. If you need my contact information, we'll be happy to get that to you at the end of the webinar. Once I receive the questionnaires, I review them, and then I reach out directly to the carriers that appear to be appropriate based on the client's needs. Typically, I get answers back directly from the underwriters within 24 to 48 hours. There are some carriers that can take up to a week. However, that's incredibly rare. Once I receive the responses, either myself or your life marketer will reach out to you with the options that are available for you and your client. It's a fairly simple process, but it's incredibly useful in narrowing down which carriers are going to be the most favorable based on your client's individual situation. Brian?
Okay, thank you for your insight, Andrea. I appreciate that. And so now we know about the NAILBA guide that's available out on our website. Another resource you can use is the Xray software. This is a little newer to us, but Xray does what no human being can. It evaluates over 100,000 specific underwriting rules from several carriers. They have built into this software over 600 they use what they refer to as reflexive questioning. So for instance, if you mark down that your client has diabetes, all of a sudden you're going to get another question that was not there before that can really zero in a little more specifically on the condition of diabetes. And depending on how you answer that question, it may or may not give you additional questions. Same thing goes for different types of cancer and heart problems. You name it. So it really lets you drill down and get very, very specific. Now, Xray can do a couple things. One, once you've input the information, you can send it off and have it go to pretty much all of our carriers. And they'll have all the data in an easy-to-read format, and it takes a couple business days, and they'll respond back, and we'll know what kind of rate class to expect. Now, a few of our carriers, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 of them, have uploaded all of their underwriting criteria into Xray. So as long as you don't have to freehand type any answers, you can get an answer back in like half a second, and you're going to have a great idea what kind of rate class various carriers are going to be able to offer your clients. So if you need something right away, Xray is the way to get that answer. So they determine a best case underwriting classification, and Xray is on our website as well under fb-inc.com, and look for the underwriting tab. A couple other items that Xray can do for you, and this is fairly new for them. You can save your clients in that database online. So say you speak to somebody today, it turns out that they're uninsurable, or the underwriting says, you know what, they're a table 8 now, check back in a year. As time passes, maybe they'll get a lesser table rating. Well, the client's data is already in there. You don't have to call them up or look through your files. It's already in the software for you. Xray also flows directly into our online quoting engine for term and universal life, so you don't have to type in their rate class. In fact, a miniature version of Xray is also found directly on that quoting engine. So you can put in basic data on the client and see, compare it all together, standard rates with various table ratings. And that way you'll be able to tell maybe one company's Table 2 rate class gives your client a lower price than somebody else's standard. And it's going to lay that all out for you on one screen right there. And if you need some additional training on the Xray software itself, they do offer their own online training every Tuesday and Thursday. And I believe we have a link to that on our website as well, so you can go through Xray specific training. Now, if for those cases where you don't want to just rely on the technology, you'd like to speak to a live person, we have Mike Nielsen here. He is our in-house underwriter, and Mike has got decades of experience in the industry, both in the field and as an underwriter. Among the many things he does here, he can also help you develop cover letters for your high-risk cases or maybe for financial underwriting reasons. And Mike also spends a lot of time with an here. And right now, I'll turn it over to Mike and let him speak a little bit more about what he does and how he can help you get your business through underwriting faster. Mike?
Thank you, Brian. I started in the insurance business way back in 1982, and I've just celebrated my 6th year with financial brokerage. However, I did work at financial brokerage before as a remote underwriter with CNA Insurance back in the late 90s. After working for CNA and before coming back to financial brokerage as an employee, I worked 5 years as a multi-line agent with Farm Bureau. I believe that my experiences as an agent, a home office underwriter, and as an in-house brokerage underwriter have strengthened my skills in helping financial brokerage agents. These specific skills have been honed by, number 1, knowing the mind of the applicant, 2, knowing the mind of the agent, and 3, knowing the mind of the underwriter. Over the last few years, I have developed some strong relationships with several of our carriers underwriters who are assigned to work financial brokerage's business. These relationships and trust I have built up have paid dividends on several occasions in obtaining better underwriting decisions than what was initially expected. I am just an email or a phone call away and available to discuss finding the best optimal solution for your most challenging and impaired risk applicants. My email is mnielsen@fb-inc.com. I can be reached by phone at extension 6335 through our 800 number, which is 397-9999. I also have a direct phone number, which is 402-334-6335. And I also have a direct fax, which is HIPAA compliant for receiving confidential medical information or underwriting questionnaires regarding your prospective applicants. That fax number is 402-691-6072. In closing, I would like to say that I am here, I am available, so please do not hesitate to contact me. And with that, I turn this back over to you, Brian.
All right, thank you, Mike. I appreciate your insight and some of the things that maybe I didn't even know about your background there. So we appreciate that. Moving on to the fourth item here in ways to make your underwriting go a little faster. I'm going to talk a little bit about simplified issue life policies. Well, why would you want to use a simplified issue policy? Well, first of all, you avoid the pyramid exam and the uncertainties that may arise from that. You might actually end up with a worse rate class or a decline going through full underwriting. There may be something out there that the carrier just won't pick up by going through simplified issue. All of the various types, which we'll discuss on the next screen, they evaluate a client's health using very broad criteria. In fact, it's basically through a Table 2 to Table 4 rate class. Everybody gets the same price. And so they can, as long as you fit into that very broad window, you'll get the policy. Because of the lack of a pyramid exam and using such broad criteria, simplified issue policies have a very fast turnaround time. I think we usually see something around a week or maybe less than a week. Carriers want to get these things in and out. They have not priced them such that they can spend a whole lot of time delving into details of your client's health history. And when underwriting goes faster, guess what? You get paid a little faster too, and we all like to get paid. Yeah, and some other little details too. Sometimes folks miss about the commissions. With a lot of these simplified issue policies, especially the term policies, the policy fee is commissionable. And take a second to think about this. Most policy fees run about $60 a year or so. That's $60 that you're not getting paid on in most cases. So multiply that $60 times the number of term policies you sold last year. How much more money would you have made? If it was just 10 applications you placed, that's $600. I could think of a lot of things I could do at $600. Now, what if you're writing 5 apps a month? Now you're up to about 60 applications a year. That's $3,600. We're getting into some bigger dollars here just because we're eliminating that non-commissionable policy fee. Now, there are several types of simplified issue policies that carriers make available. I had already mentioned non-med term or simplified issue term. Prices may be only slightly higher than what you see on a fully underwritten term policy, especially if the client's going to be looking at a standard rate class, maybe into the table 2. Why have them go through all of that underwriting to pay the same as they would get, for about a 1-week turnaround non-med policy. Another type of policy we see are final expense applications. Typically, you have a client answers about 12 questions. They sit through a phone interview with the carrier, and the turnaround is very fast. They issue the policy. Something we're having a lot of conversations on right now are term conversions. Now, there's really no underwriting on these. The underwriting was done years ago when the client first took out that term policy. It's a matter of taking what's in most cases a 1-page application and converting that term to a permanent policy. I mentioned we're having a lot of conversations on this right now. It's because of a new reserve requirement carriers are going to be forced to comply with in January called AG 38. The insurance commissioners thought that carriers should be reserving more money than what they have been for no-lapse guarantee universal life policies. That's causing carriers to raise their prices. Several have done that already. They will certainly all have done that by January 1st. So this is a great time to reach out to your clients who have term policies. They had mentioned interest in converting all or part of that at some point in the future. Well, if they do it over the next 6 weeks, they're going to pay considerably less than they would if they waited until 2013. Well, similar to term conversions, we have a carrier here that operates what they call a term exchange program, and there are some parameters and guidelines, but basically the way it works is your client can convert their term insurance from one company to a permanent plan with a completely different company. Again, there are some rules and guidelines to follow, but if you don't like the original company's permanent plan, you can go with another company's without having to go through full underwriting. And similar to that, another carrier has what they call the TOP program. Similar to the term exchange, but it does not apply to permanent coverage. It applies to term. It allows your client to top off their existing term policy with maybe it's with company A, B, or C, and they can top it off with a new term plan with company D. And I can get you more details on that later on. And one thing which I unfortunately did not include on the slide early enough was wealth transfer policies. These are typically used where a client has got some money. They're not going to be using it throughout their retirement years, and the only purpose of those funds are to pass to the next generation. Well, we can help move that money into a life insurance policy. There's a one-time payment. That's it. Simplified underwriting, a lot like those final expense policies are, and it's in and out. It's issued very quickly. So the fifth way to speed up the underwriting process here we found is using online applications speeds up things tremendously. Now, these can be used with several carriers for term insurance and for a couple of them with universal life as well. So online applications means you have no paperwork. You can throw out that box of applications that's been sliding around your trunk for months now. You can get rid of it. You don't need it anymore. You can deal complete with online applications. Because they're online, they're also error-free. You can't misspell a word. You can't forget to check a box. The system will not let you proceed and submit the business. And errors and omissions in there, those are some of the biggest reasons applications are held up in the underwriting process. They're trying to get an answer to a very simple question. was probably just an oversight on your part, but the online process prevents you from missing something there. So here's what we see with the online applications. They turn around about 14 days faster than a traditional paper application. 14 days faster. Wouldn't you like to get paid 14 days faster, or would you rather wait? We also see about 10% greater placement of the business. And I think a lot of that has to do with the faster turnaround. The client isn't sitting out there waiting forever and ever and ever. Also, the underwriter is dealing with more complete information from the get-go. They don't have as many chances, or they're less likely to have to go to obtain doctor's records if they can gather all that information up front. And another thing to note right now, we do have a promotion for these online applications here at Financial Brokerage, specifically the quick ticket model. You can earn 10% extra commission on those quick ticket applications through the IGO process. That's through the end of the year. There's just a few carriers that applies to, but 10% extra. And if you do 20 of those in that time period, we'll give you another 5 points. It's up to 15% extra commission. So important to take advantage of that right now. And I think last count, I know we're one of the leading marketing organizations in the country as far as online applications go. I think about 18% of our applications are processed this way right now. So the sixth way to help speed up that underwriting process, this is something a lot of people forget about: accidental death policies. They underwrite based on the client's lifestyle. They don't take a look at the person's health problems for your otherwise uninsurable clients, or maybe those that are so heavily table rated that there's no way they can afford the premium. We at least have the ability to get them something with an accidental death policy. Works great, especially for younger folks that may have some health problems. If their concern is dying in a car accident or a plane crash or what have you, this would take care of them there. We've got, I think at last count, 3 carriers offering accidental death policies. They cap them at $250,000, so you could get your client up to $750,000 without a pyramid exam, without going through any medical questions at all. You fill out the app, send it in, and I bet you in about a week's time you're going to have a policy coming back to you. So to recap, the 6 prescriptions for faster underwriting, we discussed the NAILBA underwriting guide. It can be found on our website, and this will arm you with all the questions you need to ask the client when they have some significant health problems out there. You can also take advantage of the technology available and use the Xray software, especially if you need an instant answer, or if you'd rather just type everything into the computer. When you don't want to use the technology and need to speak to a live person, please take advantage of Mike Nielsen. He's here to help you. And don't forget about simplified issue policies. You can make yourself a lot of extra money by offering these when it's appropriate. Online applications will certainly speed up the process and help you place more business. And don't forget about the accidental death policies when needed. So those were the 6 prescriptions. It's open for questions right now, and I'll take a moment here to look at these here again. You can type them on your computer, and we'll do our best here between Mike and Andrea and myself to answer these for you. I'll give everybody just a minute. Keep in mind, if you know some other people out there, other producers that you think would benefit from this webinar and the content we presented, we archive all of these, we record all of these, and they're housed out on our YouTube channel at fb-inc.com. So you can certainly direct them there or have them give me a call. I'd be happy to walk anybody through the content that we discussed this morning. So, all right, I'm not, we must have covered the information very well. I'm not seeing any questions right now. If something does come up later, feel free to give me a call. I'm at 800-475-5555. My extension is 3371. I'd like to thank you all for attending this morning and thank Mike and Andrea for taking time out of their day to join us again. Have a great day.